Welcome to another episode of the Wealth Creator Spiritual Path podcast. I'm your host, Dreyer, and today we're diving into an episode that could redefine the way that you perceive life, success, and true potential. Now, the topic for today is I Am Mine. It's a profound exploration of how the power of the mind shapes both your spiritual journey as well as your financial reality. To guide us in this theme, I'm excited to introduce you to a story that perfectly embodies the lessons we'll uncover. This is the story of Magnus and the dance of the eternal current. In this story, you'll meet Magnus, an ambitious entrepreneur who, despite his apparent success, struggles with a deeper sense of purpose. His journey takes a transformative turn when he encounters a mysterious mentor who introduces him to the concept of the toroidal energy field, a symbol of life's perpetual cycle of giving and receiving. As Magnus navigates the challenges and the revelations, he learns to embrace the law of impermanence and discover the true power of perception as a higher faculty of the mind. Why is this story then important? Because you see, it's not just a story. It's a mirror to the challenges and the opportunities that you might face in your own journey. Through Magnus's experiences, you'll see the reflection of your own battles with fear, control, and the pursuit of success. The lesson embedded within the story holds the key to understanding how embracing change, aligning with the flow of energy, and harnessing perception can lead to profound growth and fulfillment. I encourage you to listen really closely to the story, not just for the sake of storytelling, but for the powerful insights that will follow. This story will act as a bridge to our deeper discussions on today's theme, connecting Magnus's journey to the principles of the Wealth Creator strategy and how these lessons can be applied to elevate your personal and financial life. So as you immerse yourself in Magnus's story and the teachings that follow, know that what you learn today can have a transformative impact on your mindset, helping you to overcome obstacles, fuel your creativity, and achieve your goals with greater clarity and purpose. So stay tuned and let's begin the journey into Magnus and the dance of the eternal current before we dive into the heart of today's topic, I am the mind.
Magnus and the dance of the eternal current. Magnus was an ambitious entrepreneur, known in his community as someone who built his wealth through sheer willpower and traditional strategies. Yet, beneath the shimmering facade of success lay a whispering void. His life felt like a relentless race, chasing numbers and achievements that brought only short-lived joy. Something crucial eluded him, a profound purpose, an essence he struggled to articulate. One crisp autumn evening, Magnus wandered into a forgotten part of the city. The narrow streets were lined with ancient buildings, their stone faces etched with tales of centuries past. It was here in the warm glow of twilight that he noticed a small unmarked shop. The delicate glow from a solitary oil lamp danced within, weaving mysterious shadows that appeared to murmur ancient secrets. Intrigued, Magnus pushed open the heavy wooden door. The scent of old books and incense wrapped around him like a blanket. Behind a cluttered desk sat an old man with piercing eyes that seemed to look straight into Magnus's soul. He wore robes of deep blue and gold, and in his hand he held a metallic object shaped like a torus. "Welcome, Magnus," the old man said without lifting his gaze from the object. The greeting sent an icy shiver coursing down Magnus's spine. How could this enigmatic stranger possibly know his name? "Who are you?" Magnus stammered, stepping further into the room. "I am Urion," the old man replied, finally locking eyes with Magnus. "And this," he went on, waving the toroid like a trophy, "is the shiny treasure you've been hunting for." Magnus felt an inexplicable pull towards the object. It glowed faintly, as though alive with an inner light. "What is it?" he inquired. "It is the emblem of the energy that weaves and propels all things. Urion said, "It is the dance of giving and receiving, of existence itself, and it holds the key to what you seek." Magnus felt a surge of curiosity and skepticism. "How can this shape teach me anything about my life or my work?" he asked. Urion smiled knowingly. "The journey is yours to discover, but remember this: true wealth is found not in saving what is gained, but in aligning with the flow of the universe." That night, as Magnus left the shop, the street seemed different, almost alive. He could feel the pulse of the city as if it were a living entity. A sense of purpose stirred within him, and he knew his life was about to change. In the days that followed, Magnus began to experience strange visions. The first came as he stood by the window of his office watching the city below. The buildings, cars, and people blurred, replaced by an immense swirling energy field that enveloped everything. He saw himself as a part of this field, connected by invisible threads that pulsed with life. The toroid from Urion's shop appeared in his mind, spinning and glowing, reminding him of the interconnected nature of all things. The visions were disorienting, but Magnus couldn't ignore them. They forced him to question everything he thought he knew. His business, once a fortress of security, began to weaken as markets shifted and investments turned. The fear of losing what he had built consumed him. It felt as if the universe itself was testing him, stripping away his old beliefs one by one. One evening, Magnus sought comfort in a nearby park. The air was heavy with the scent of rain, and the trees whispered in the wind. As he sat beneath an ancient oak, a memory surfaced, Urion's voice speaking of the law of impermanence. "All things are transient, Magnus. The waves rises, crests, and falls, but the ocean remains." The realization struck him like a lightning bolt. He had been clinging to success as if it were a permanent state, trying to preserve what was meant to change. He saw now that impermanence was not the enemy but a guide, an invitation to adapt and flow with life's cycles. One day, Magnus found himself at the edge of the woods where the visions often came more vividly. The trees seemed to shift and shimmer as he walked deeper into the forest. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a clearing filled with mirrors. Each mirror reflected not just his physical form, but different versions of him. Magnus the fearful, Magnus the ambitious, Magnus the peaceful. He realized that these reflections were perceptions, each one a story he told himself. Perception shapes reality. Orion's words echoed in his mind. It is not what you see, but how you see it. Magnus stepped toward the mirror, showing him as peaceful. He reached out and felt a warmth, a deep connection, as if a veil had lifted. In that moment, he understood that his view of the world influenced everything: his success, his failures, his joys. If he chose to see challenges as opportunities, they would become stepping stones. If he perceived change as a threat, it would become an anchor pulling him down. As he turned to leave the clearing, Magnus noticed that the mirrors no longer showed fractured parts of him, but reflected a unified image. The realization settled deep within him. Perception was his greatest tool, capable of transforming the chaos of life into a harmonious dance. Returning to his business, Magnus no longer approached it with the same rigid mindset. He began to see the flow of energy in his team, the markets, and even in the risks he took. He realized that wealth was not a static number on a balance sheet, but a living force, part of a toroidal field that needed to circulate in order to grow. He implemented the wealth creator strategy, not just as a method for profit, but as a philosophy. Investments were no longer just transactions, they were exchanges of energy. He embraced impermanence, adapting his approach with the rhythm of the markets. And most importantly, he used perception to shift challenges into lessons. Magnus's business began to thrive again, but this time, the success felt different. It resonated deeper, like a current in the ocean that carried him forward rather than one he fought against. His life felt richer, not just in wealth, but in purpose and connection. One evening, Magnus returned to Urion's shop hoping to share his insights. But the shop was gone, as if it had never existed. All that remained was a single note pinned to the door that read, "The journey of 1,000 oceans begins with the realization that you are the wave and the water. Continue to dance, Magnus." And so, Magnus walked away, not with the answers, but with a profound understanding. Everything, from his ambitions to his spiritual growth, was part of an infinite dance of the mind, shaped by perception, guided by impermanence, and moved by the toroid's eternal flow.
So let's see what are the lessons that we can take from this story. Understanding the mind goes beyond seeing it as a mere cognitive center. It is a source and matrix of existence. Everything we perceive, from our deepest emotions to the thoughts that guides us, is processed in a vast network of consciousness. In Magnus and the Dance of the Eternal Current, we meet Magnus, a successful yet discontented entrepreneur, who discovered this truth in an unexpected way. Magnus' journey began when he encountered Urion, an enigmatic figure who reveals the glowing toroid, a symbol of the conscious cycle of energy that connects all aspects of life. This moment was pivotal. It signified the first lesson of today's podcast, understanding the toroid energy field. Now, the toroid energy field represents the conscious cycle of giving and receiving. It is a reminder that wealth and growth are not stagnant, but must flow like the energy within this field. In Magnus' story, he learned that aligning with the flow transformed his financial practices. Instead of seeing wealth as a finite resource to be hoarded, he began to invest back into his business and community, creating a cycle of prosperity. Now, consider how reinvesting profits and sharing knowledge with others create a feedback loop of value. The more we contribute to the cycle, the more we align with the natural flow of energy, enhancing both personal as well as financial growth. Now, this story takes a deeper turning when Magnus' business faced challenges. He finds himself in a park reflecting on how fleeting success can be, just like the waves of the ocean. This moment captured the essence of the law of impermanence, which states that everything is transient. Magnus realized that clinging on to the idea of permanent success had held him back. Instead, accepting challenges as a natural part of life empowered him to accept and thrive. Now, applying this lesson, life, much like the financial markets, is inherently unpredictable. Investments may rise and fall, businesses may prosper or struggle, and trends shift over time. By embracing impermanence, we build resilience and learn to see the challenges not as failures, but as opportunities of evolution. One of the most poignant scenes in Magnus' story occurs when he stumbles upon a clearing filled with mirrors, each reflecting different aspects of himself. Here, he understands that perception shapes reality. His journey through the forest of reflection shows that what he believes about himself and his world dictates his experiences. When he chooses to perceive himself as capable and peaceful, his reality shifts to match that perception. So let's look at what this means in practice. This lesson teaches us that approaching situations with a positive and abundant mindset can change how we interact with challenges. For example, a setback at work can be perceived either as a failure or as a lesson that sharpens your skills. Your chosen perception determines whether you move forward or remain stuck. Magnus's journey is not just a tale of spiritual enlightenment, but also a blueprint for applying these lessons to our financial growth. The financial strategy is founded on the idea that wealth creation must align with these deeper principles. Now, when Magnus learned to integrate the toroidal cycle, embrace impermanence, and shift his perception, he transformed both his personal and professional life. His success became more than financial. It became purposeful and resilient. So let's use an everyday example. I want you to imagine running a business where you face a sudden economic downturn. Applying Magnus's insights, you would acknowledge the impermanence of the market conditions, adjust your strategies, and use perception to find new opportunities amidst this change. You would circulate your resources wisely, investing in innovation and relationships, thereby nurturing a sustainable cycle of growth. Here are a couple of questions that I'd like you to ponder on and to perhaps answer yourself. How does the toroid energy field relate to my financial and personal growth? Just as Magnus learned, true growth comes from circulating energy. This applies to reinvesting profits, sharing ideas, and contributing value. Growth stagnates when energy is held too tightly, but it flourishes when allowed to flow. The second question, what does the law of impermanence teach me about handling challenges? Impermanence reminds us that challenges are temporary and part of life's natural rhythm. Magnus learned that by seeing his businesses struggle as waves that could rise and fall. Embrace this idea allows for strategic flexibility and long-term resilience. The third question, how can perception transform my approach to life and finance? Magnus's moment with the mirror showed that perception is a powerful tool. Seeing challenges as opportunities instead of obstacles can lead to innovative solutions. In practice, this might mean reframing a career setback as a chance to pivot into a more fulfilling path. The fourth question that we can ask is, what steps can I take to align my actions with the cycle of giving and receiving? Now, Magnus' story illustrates the importance of contributing back into the cycle. This could mean mentoring others, investing in personal development, or supporting community initiatives, ensuring that what is given comes back multiplied. The last question for today is, why is it essential to integrate the spiritual growth with financial strategies? Now, Magnus' journey showed that financial success without spiritual fulfillment feels empty. Integrating spiritual growth brings purpose and ensures that the wealth created aligns with deeper values, making it sustainable and rewarding. So thank you for joining me today on I'm the Mind. If Magnus' story inspired you, take the time to reflect how you can integrate these lessons of the toroid energy field, the law of impermanence, and perception into your own journey. These principles are not just stories. They are the foundation of a fulfilled life and a successful, resilient financial strategy. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe if you haven't done so already, share with your friends, and leave your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Let's build a community that embraces the mind's boundless power to shape our realities and achieve true growth. Remember, life is an ongoing dance within an infinite ocean of the mind. Align with the flow, adapt with change, and let perception guide you to new horizons. Join me in the next episode where we'll explore projections, how the future you see shapes the reality that you create. It's going to be an enlightening journey that you won't want to miss. Stay inspired, stay aligned, and remember, you are the mind.